Hello, and welcome to my series, How to Transform Your Practice Using AI. My name is Katie Young. I've been a litigator in San Francisco, California for 16 years. I've always kind of been on the forefront of the cutting edge of law. I spent 10 years representing cannabis businesses, which was all brand new. And I'm always looking for the newest thing. I've been pushed towards AI by intelligent people in my firm who are early tech adopters and also necessity. So I'm here to talk to you in this series of videos about what AI is, how generative AI works, how summarization AI works, and then another tool that I'm going to show you is called Depo Copilot, which works like having a junior associate or paralegal sitting next to you at a deposition, passing you notes and taking copious notes themselves. So I'm going to be showing you the three main tools that I am using to make it so that I'm never doing first drafts. I'm not charging the client, $400, $500, $600 an hour for someone to summarize a deposition transcript. It's all set up. It's all very accessible and it's easy to use, as you'll see in this set of videos. So there's nothing to be afraid of. We're going to help you dip your toe into what it's like to use AI to transform your practice. My practice has certainly been transformed. I started using these tools maybe a year ago, maybe a little bit before that. Started with Westlaw's Co-Counsel, which is something that a lot of us are using. And talking to friends that are at big firms, they said, "Oh, our firm spent so much money getting Co-Counsel going." And then when I show them, smaller tools that are more specialized, the firms are slow to adopt them because they already bought Co-Counsel. And actually, I'll show you the output as compared to some other pieces of software that I use throughout the series of videos that it's sort of crawling and there's other products that are walking and there's other products that are running. And so one of the aims of this series of videos is to help kind of cut through the fat for you after the year or so that I have been trying out all these products. And of course, I'm in San Francisco where we get to beta test products because so-and-so's husband started a new startup AI company and they're looking for someone to beta test their products. I'm always raising my hand saying, sure, I'll give it a try. And I found some really, really powerful tools that made it so that when my most junior associate, who was an eighth year, when he got poached in May of 2025, I learned how to use these AI tools and ended up not replacing him. And now I get my first drafts from these tools that I'm about to show you for generative AI and summarization AI. And I no longer have another body sitting with me at a deposition. Instead, I'm using a product called Depo Copilot that is just hundreds of dollars instead of thousands of dollars. I represent mostly small and medium sized businesses in disputes in the areas of business, employment, real estate, and trademark. Pretty much anything a small business owner would need. All of my clients are extremely cost conscious. They are all paying the bill out of their own pockets. There's almost never an insurance company paying my bill, maybe once or twice a year. So it's very important for me to make sure that my clients are saving as much money as they can, so that we can fight the long fight. Because some of these business engagements will last for years at a time and are extremely expensive. We bill by the hour, but I think the contingency lawyers will also be able to see throughout the demonstrations of these products, how much time it's going to save them. Because by the hour lawyers have this kind of perverse incentive to bill, and these products kind of cut against that because the drafting time is cut down so much. But then for contingency lawyers, of course, you want the maximum output with minimal effort, so as to maximize, your fee award on the case and your ability to take it over the line. Um, so I'm really happy to be presenting this to you. I was encouraged to make these videos with the help of some friends who have been following my process throughout this journey. And I recently gave a presentation to the Edward J. McFetridge Inn of Court in San Francisco about the use of AI in the law. And I had on my panel a professor of legal research and writing from University of San Francisco, which is where I went to law school. They have, for the last several years, started incorporating AI into their legal research and writing curriculum. And then this year it became official. And so I had a professor come and talk about what is the role of new lawyers when entering the workforce that has been, I think, permanently changed by the use of artificial intelligence. And then finally on the panel, there was a judge from the San Francisco Superior Court who was weighing in on how judges are using AI and what the legal ethics around judges are. So this is a hot topic. Everyone's interested in it, and I wanted to make sure that you get all the information that I have in an efficient manner so that you can learn how to fix up your practice and serve more clients, bill less, do more. And it's really an access to justice issue, for those of us that are representing the small and medium-sized clients, and even for pro-pers, this could be revolutionary for them. However, you'll hear me speak throughout the course of these videos that the power of these artificial intelligence tools is very, very strong, but also can be very, very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So pro-pers will seem like they are really getting a good work product when us lawyers know that that needs some help. So I've prepared some slides to be able to show you what the landscape looks like for learning what artificial intelligence is and how that applies to lawyers and law firms. So I'm going to share my screen, and you are going to see the slideshow in a second. Thank you for being here. It means that you are curious and you are interested in learning something. It wasn't that difficult to learn. I wish someone had, brought me in and said, "Hey, look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me show you how to use it." Instead, what I'm showing you now is the product of at least a year of tinkering with lots of great minds giving me input, especially some of these folks who had let me beta test their products. I was able to get some white glove introductions into how these work and really gain a deeper understanding about these tools. So let's carry on. What is artificial intelligence? There was a paper that came out in 2017 called Attention is All You Need, and it was about what's called a transformer. A transformer is a large language model, LLM, which you've seen before, which works to generate text. And this paper revolutionized how machines understand and generate language. Before this, AI models just process words kind of in order, like reading a transcript line by line. The transformer model changed absolutely everything by saying, wait, what if we look at everything at once and decide what's relevant? So imagine you're preparing for trial. You got a mountain of documents, depositions, emails, motions. If you're into the personal injury side, medical records, and you're not reading them all linearly. You've read them before, but what you're going to do is skim and jump around trying to prepare your trial brief and your witness outlines. So you're looking for what matters, the date, a contradiction, an admission. So while you're going through and doing your trial prep, you're attending to what's relevant. That's the same thing the transformer does, but with words in a sentence, all just determining relevance. What are we supposed to be paying attention to? Attention is all you need, they say. So let's consider a legal analogy. Let's say we're dealing with a sentence that says the plaintiff claimed that the defendant intentionally misrepresented the facts. A traditional model would read one word at a time and try and remember what came before in order to predict what comes next. But we legal minds know that the key meaning depends on how all the words relate together. And in this sentence, intentionally modifies misrepresented, which is crucial for you to be able to prove fraud. The transformer does the same thing. It assigns weights to how important each word is by understanding the others, like you deciding what's material in the case. This is called attention. So think of it as throughout the presentations that I give you, this video and the ones going forward, how much attention should I pay to each word when trying to understand the meaning of another word? That's what the AI is doing. So it's not actual human thinking. It's based on what used to be a prediction model and now paying attention to all of the data that's available to it and determining based on the unique data that you've uploaded in your prompt and your ask what output it's going to give to you based on what it thinks it should be paying attention to. So there were some key takeaways from this 2017 Transformer paper. There's older models that use like I said, something like memory. It read a sentence word for word, but instead the transformer skips ahead and does all the words simultaneously, like reviewing the whole case file all at once instead of one document at a time. There's parallel processing discussed in the paper. Because it doesn't have to go word by word, the transformer models work a lot faster. It's like having a team of associates, each reading a document and summarizing the most relevant facts all at once and like sharing that data with each other all together. The transformer model has layers of reasoning. It doesn't just look at the words once. It does build multiple layers of attention, just like an attorney thinking through a case. It's first, the attorney's first reading facts. It's then applying the law, and the attorney is crafting arguments. So each layer refines your understanding, just like we do. And then we have iterative drafts, and AI programs can have iterative drafts as well. Uh, One big benefit of the transformer model is that it generalizes well. Once trained on a large amount of text, for instance, court opinions, contracts, articles, the transformer can generate new, highly coherent text like a junior associate trained well enough to draft good motions based on prior examples. You'll find some software, some transformer models that have kind of a closed universe of documents, like maybe it's trained on a series of 10,000 motions. So it'll understand what goes into a motion, and if it's a issue that comes up a lot, it'll be able to give you a pretty good draft. But if there's some new statutes that you need to draft a motion about, or some new case that comes up that needs to be included in the motion, a model that's only been trained on those motions, unless it's updated constantly, is not going to be able to give you the information you need to competently draft a motion now that those cases or statutes have come out. So the Transformer paper mattered because it paved the way for ChatGPT, things like Bard, Claude, and other modern AI tools. Claude, incidentally, is the kind of generalist AI that University of San Francisco uses to teach their students how to use generative AI in the practice. Before the Transformer, AI's grasp of language was kind of clunky and kind of slow, but now it's very fast, fluent, and can be surprisingly nuanced, which is a big leap from using AI to do things like review discovery. This is more like having a smart legal assistant flagging issues instantly, automatically. Think of it as the older models, kind of pre-2017, pre-ChatGPT, were like manual bait stamping. But the Transformer, think of it as an AI-powered e-discovery with relevance scoring. It's efficient, context-aware, and absolutely game-changing. I think we all remember when technology-assisted review became a thing. E-discovery revolutionized the practice of law, as is AI at this point. And I can't say it enough. There's room for new lawyers here. The trick is for the new lawyers to apply their legal knowledge that they've learned in law school in order to be able to manipulate these tools to generate a really cost-efficient first draft for a partner to review. So in plain English, what is a large language model, an LLM? This is your ChatGPTs, your Claudes, any of the generative AI that I'm going to show you in these videos. These models are trained on reading the whole world's library. It's a colossal data set of text and code. What happens is the data is broken down into what's called tokens, somehow 3/4 of a word, and then fed through the model. And then during the process of interpreting the data, the model adjusts billions of internal parameters to predict the most likely token. It's sort of if you take a courtroom gallery as an analogy, the attention mechanism solves a critical problem, which is understanding the long range context. It's like a judge who can hear every spectator's whisper at once. It connects affiliate on page 5 of the clause on page 150 to page 150, learning which prior facts are relevant. It's just an example. There's what's called context windows and context exhaustion. A context window is the amount of text that the large language model can consider at once. ChatGPT 4 Turbo can keep about 300 pages open on the bench, like a judge. And then some new models do up to 1 million tokens at once, which is more like, way more, it's way more than 300 pages. I'll have to do the math with the AI guys. I'll have to ask them. Excuse me, I was told there would be no math as a lawyer. Let's also talk about content exhaustion. This is a situation where the AI model starts paying less attention to information that's at the middle of a long prompt. AI is very good at picking up what's at the beginning, what's at the end, and it can be a little bit more lax about some things in the middle. There's been some serious advances in AI's reasoning. The techniques like chain of thought prompting ask the model to show its work step by step, which it will do if you ask it. And there's agentic systems, agentic like agent, which actually does things for you. Agentic problems break complex problems into subtasks and can do things like perform multiple searches and can synthesize citation-rich reports. So that's what the transformer does. This is what these LLMs are all doing. And there's different types of AI. We've been talking about generative. I just mentioned agentic. Predictive AI is AI that you are already using. It's everywhere. It's in your Westlaw. It's in your Outlook when you're typing an email and it's suggesting the next couple of words. That's predictive AI. And that's where it suggests the next word and uses machine learning and statistical analysis on historical data to identify patterns, anticipate behaviors, and forecast future outcomes. Generative AI, as we're going to focus on in the next video, creates new original content such as text, images, audio, video, all in response to user prompts or inputs. And the audio video has become a big issue for the judges to grapple with because of the concept of deepfakes. The ability to generate an image or video using artificial intelligence has increased so much, and the sophistication has increased even in the last couple of months. And I imagine we'll be making leaps and bounds every couple of months here going forward. It's a real issue for the judges to grapple with whether there is any sort of objection to a piece of evidence as being AI generated. There's metadata that we've been used to dealing with when we're looking at Word documents, PDFs, that sort of thing. But there'll have to be some new training for the judges to be able to understand the technology behind it. The presentation that I gave recently before the Inn of Court, the Superior Court judge that was talking about it was on a criminal assignment, and he was explaining that he early in the case makes the parties tell him if there's going to be any objection or motion in limine or any issue about there being a potential of an image or a video being manipulated by AI or generated by AI. So that way he's not getting a closing argument where someone is bringing up, well, this could be a deep fake or AI generated that video for the first time, confusing the jury. Summarization AI, that's going to be video number 3. Summarization AI automatically condenses large pieces of content into a shorter, more digestible version. These are used for things like deposition transcripts, arbitration transcripts, trial transcripts. You can run those text files or PDF files through one of these summarization products, and they will give you really nice deposition summaries. I'm going to show you in video 3 my favorite product for getting deposition summaries that saves my clients a lot of time and money. Then there's agentic AI, which I just touched on, and that is a type of AI that can understand and respond to inquiries without any human intervention. For instance, you can tell it, plan a vacation for me in Hawaii and buy the tickets. And it can go ahead and do that. And you should probably tell it the dates. But it will go ahead and do that and go to the websites that you need to visit in order to accomplish your tasks. Massively powerful. But what we're going to focus on is generative AI and summarization AI in the coming videos, because those are the ones that are most relevant to your practice. Throughout these videos, you're going to hear me talk about 2 concepts. One is the hallucitation, and the other is factual drift. I can't take credit for hallucitation. That is a hallucination that an artificial intelligence model makes which is really a function of the model, which I'll explain in a little bit. But a lot of times, what it hallucinates are citations in briefs. And so I heard another presenter call it a hallucitation. I've taken that one. So a hallucination or hallucitation is where the AI output contains false, misleading, or sometimes non-existent information, confidently presenting it as a fact. This is totally fabricated conduct that can be invented facts and citations to entirely nonsensical narratives, but it's not a bug. This is exactly how AI is trained. It involves predicting the most likely sequence of words or data based on patterns in its training data rather than grounding its grounding its output in verifiable facts. It will never tell you, I don't know. It will come up with something, and that's where you really need to exercise your ethical duties of diligence and competence and supervision and candor, and make sure that you are never submitting a pleading that contains false information. For instance, I had a client who, even not just a pleading, but you wouldn't want to send a demand letter that has hallucinated citations in it. Nobody's going to take you seriously. You've all heard so far about the attorneys that are getting sanctioned by the courts. There was just an opinion that came down the other day from the appellate court affirming a $10,000 sanction against an attorney for submitting a brief with 21 out of 23 citations hallucinated. I had an experience like that a couple months back when I was working with a client who swore to me that she had access to a legal research engine and she was going to help me find the citations for this demand letter that we wanted to send. And she spent all night going through and finding me these citations that I plugged into the letter that I was writing, complete with these great quotes. And I said, I have to cite check these before I send them out. And it turns out, I'd say half of the citations were totally hallucinated. The ones that were not hallucinated, that were real cases, either didn't stand for the proposition that it came up with, or it didn't have that exact quote in there. And there were several cases that were useful. So it wasn't totally off base, but definitely something that you need to make sure you are supervising, just as you would supervise a young associate that you assume didn't know what they were doing. The other concern is factual drift, which is the gradual decline in accuracy or reliability of an AI model's factual outputs over the time that you're using it. The more data you put into it, the more likely you're going to get factual drift. And so you need to know the facts of your case when you are working on reviewing the AI output, because you want to make sure under your duty of diligence and your duty of candor to the court, when you sign that pleading, you're saying, I've looked into this and there's factual support. So if you want to avoid a Rule 11 or a 128.7, if you're in state court, you must watch out for both factual drift and hallucination. Because the other thing about factual drift is that if the AI model comes up with a fact that's slightly off from what the true state of the world is, that drifted fact will run throughout the work product, and you're going to have a lot of work to do to remediate that. So watch out for these two. Do not be the guy that gets the sanctions against them. It's embarrassing, and the judges are getting sick of it already. So I've talked a little bit about ethics. Let's really dive into the ethics playbook for using artificial intelligence in your practice. The first is Rule 1.1, which is the duty of competence. What does it mean to be competent about an AI tool's limitations? And that's, I think, why you're here watching this series of videos, so you can become competent in using AI in your practice and understanding what these tools can and can't do, which you'll see through the live demonstrations that I give in videos 2 through 4. I've already mentioned the duty of diligence. You have a duty to verify the AI's output as a core requirement of your duty of diligence. You need to be going through each citation, watching out for factual drift, just as though you were working with someone brand new, you didn't know, and you didn't trust their work product yet. It's a much better position to take when going through AI's output to say, I don't trust this, then I do trust this. That should be your default. Rule 1.6, confidentiality. You need to be concerned about whether you are feeding client secrets into a public AI. ChatGPT is a public AI. In video number two, I am visited by the creator of generative AI software that I use, who said the old adage, if the product is free, you're the product. So things like ChatGPT, which are public models, will take the information that you upload to it, and the model will get trained on what you put in. Now, we lawyers have a duty of confidentiality to keep our clients' secrets. So we are not able ethically to go ahead and upload to ChatGPT or any other sort of public AI portal information that we only know from representing the client. So when you are considering various AI products to use in your practice, you need to be aware to ask some questions of the company that you're considering about what their security protocols are, whether they have certain certifications, and whether the model trains on the data that you give it. And there's also Rule 3.3, which is the duty of candor. This is the absolute duty to prevent AI-generated falsehoods from reaching a court. Again, this is the concern about Rule 11 or 128.7, where your signature says there's factual support for this. And finally, there's Rule 5.1/5.3, which is your duty of supervision. Your duty is to supervise the AI as you would supervise a human assistant. I'm the managing partner of the firm. I run the business, I do the marketing, and I do the cases as well, but I can't do the first draft. It's got to be somebody else. But I have a duty to supervise that person. I've worked with juniors before in the past, and while I enjoy these people and I do enjoy teaching and mentoring, I don't have as much time for it as I want. So what's helpful about these AI tools is that they're about as useful as a very junior associate, and with just as much time to look over what they had done, but way cheaper for the clients. And so for a practice like mine, where I'm representing small and medium-sized businesses and everyone's very cost conscious, I'm sure even your big clients are very cost conscious. Being able to have these tools is a matter of access to justice, really. These AI tools can bridge the gap between cases that are so small they belong in small claims, and then civil cases that have, big discovery issues and really high attorney's fees. These AI tools can also help save court administration costs. There's now starting to be like little chat bots on courts' websites that'll have a little AI assistant that will help litigants and propers understand what they need to do, what they need to file, where they need to go. As I mentioned, the big benefit for my clients is that these AI tools enable me to take on more cases and provide more affordable and effective representation to them. I can not only help more people, I can do it cheaper. And this brings absolute joy to my heart. When I resolve a dispute, it's so worthwhile. It's why we do this job. Being a litigator, as you know, can be a slog. But I gotta tell you, when I get a chance to use one of these AI tools, I get a little giddy and excited because it's fun and it's new. I've also noticed that these AI tools can help empower law school clinics. That these law students can exercise the part of their brains that's learning AI and become lawyers that would be able to enter the workforce. And as I mentioned, there's also assisting legal services providers who represent underserved populations. So those would be your low cost indigent litigant clinics, and also, like I said, for propers, it's very helpful for them. And that is the end of our presentation. If you have any questions about how to operate AI within your practice, what tools you should use, and just need your handheld, give me a call. I'd be happy to work with you and do some consultation. If you want these slides, let me know. I'm happy to provide. And I hope that AI transforms your practice the way that it transformed mine. Thank you so much. I'm Katie Young. Have a great day.